Yeah, me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Go, 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 go. Go, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give it all to Jesus. Let him take control. Just sit and watch it. I know it hurt you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret enemies. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband are falling in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live easy around, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if they say you will continue to be a zobo, if they say you will continue to be a prostitute, if they say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If they say your knee is gonna borrow, some go to meeting, mommy can say no, Johnny Ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. 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 Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go, man.
All right. Good evening, folks. Welcome to let's see. Okay. Good evening. So we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your beautiful Friday evening with us, wherever you are here in the USA, Europe, and in parts of the world. We want to welcome you to our regular editions of this program right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Stay tuned. We will get this program going right away.
Blessing overflow to be the best and more the rest. You gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood. And what I'm giving praises. Yes. I gotta dance the dividends. They think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it, brother. May not be in yesterday. Every time I sin, I'm on my knees begging God for mercy. Thank you for your love, blessing, and forgiveness. You solved my problem, Lord. You took me from the wilderness. Now only you can see my struggle when I'm very stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy they get it best. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is our theme song by Minister Jimaman to Walk Out from Inside Liberia. It's a Liberian gospel artist. Let it go, but can we let it go? We can't let all go. We have to talk about it and potentially to find a solution. News making headline. This is Afonso Z, and so right here to want to be returning home, and I'll be having a conversation here with one of the funniest, Mr. Tillman Collins is the former national president of the Grand Cadet Association right here in the USA. He also served as member of the TLA, as the Transitional National Assembly in Liberia once upon a time on Capitol Hill. He was heavily involved in the just ended elections. He's back here in the US. We're going to be tapping into him. I'm here. Last night I had a very beautiful time. Yesterday evening, I talking to Dr. Dubenya, one of the funniest scientists. And guess what, Mikey? The Libra was in the round. He boycotted the conversations. He never wanted to participate. But guess what? He has surfaced this evening. He has intruded into the process here. And I'm going to be breaking on. Oh, are you a Russian now? Oh my goodness. This is so ridiculous. This is unbelievable. That's who he is. That's the liberal. Well, our guest is standing by backstage in the studio. We're going to be bringing him on. It took us extraordinary time, work out, placing number of phone calls, talking to his aides and people that are closer to him. He had one of the no-boat organizations right here in the USA. That's the Graduate Association. That's part of his service on Capitol Hill. He came here. He did not abandon. He decided to let's take a retrospect here. Those days, and let's see. And we're going to be breaking our guests on. Okay, let's get this program going. Let me bring in the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio, Samson Branto, is joining me this evening from Saxton, Sacramento. Before we bring in our guest here, Samson, you behave like a Russian this evening, intruded into my system, which of course is not surprise. Are you there?
That's right. I'm here, Mr. So.
As of tonight, I'll be calling you the Russian liberal. You're no longer liberal. You are.
Guess what? Guess what? You have a guy that's going to be coming on here who also a Russian. So, I mean, yeah. That would be a perfect name for me tonight.
Okay. Let's get before we bring in here. Let's talk about this guy. We've been trying to get him. What I've realized since he left office, he's quiet. He doesn't like to be in the face of camera. But this time around, we managed to pull around. What do you learn about Tillman Collins for the time you associated with Graduate Association?
Well, to be honest with you, Mr. So, I'm glad tonight that he's decided to build himself again once more, because he always come out. And whatever comes out of his mouth, they're always enjoyable and make sense all of the times. To be honest with you, Mr. So, his leadership is being missed. He's young. I wish Grand Ggaa Association constitutional will allow people to go as like maybe 12 years. Let's put it that way.
You are trying to derail this conversation now.
Mr. So, will you let the liberal express himself freely without you interjecting your conservative ideas here again tonight? Please. As I was saying, I wish the Grand Ggaa Association Constitution will allow people to be on for 12 years. To be honest with you, Mr. So, his leadership is being missed. This is the only leader under his leadership that Grand Ggaa Association was able to amass huge amounts of money. Not even the icon on a Wolonyano, we were not able to realize such a huge amounts of money. Now, you know, and I know, in order for people to put that kinds of money in your leadership, they have to trust you. And immediately when he left, what happened, Mr. So?
You tell me.
Tell you, people started fighting over money. The money that was generated under his leadership. Look at the kinds of convention we have over there in Phoenix. I wish we had a way to bring him by. Because we need leadership at this time. Not a leader laying down somewhere talking on the radio or on some TV, laying down in a bed. You won't have that with Mr. Collins. That is the kinds of leadership we're missing right now, Mr. So. I'm speaking as Grand Ggaa, first of all.
Okay, the train is about to take off. What was quite fascinating and eye-catching to me was his extensive involvement in this special by-elections in Grand Ggaa, which of course changed the narrative. He came out publicly. I was kind of a little bit surprised. He always, but he came out. He was one of the chief architect, mobilize the diaspora inside Grand Ggaa and say we have to change the politics of Grand Ggaa. We have to defy conventional wisdom. Let's get the ball rolling. Time is already fast. Okay, happening now. Time from Liberia, a hectic process. He's here standing by. Let me bring in our special guest, Mr. Tillman Collins, is a former national president, 2 terms, correct? Am I correct? The Liberal.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Once upon a time, he was on Capitol Hill. Let me just bring in Mr. Collins here, and we're going to have this conversation here. Okay, we're going to do swappy around here. I know the Liberal are going to start screaming now, pointing to the bottom. That's where he needs to go right now. I'm in charge. Okay, President Collins, we want to say it. Welcome back from Liberia, and good to have you here. It took us so long to get you on camera here for whatever reason, but that's part of the leadership. Sometimes when you leave the stage, you give other people the chance to do what they're supposed to do. Good evening, and welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Thanks for having me, and thank you. Nice seeing our big brother, Mr. Samson Brown too.
The Liberal.
The Liberal Progressive. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Okay. Mr. Collins, this is your own network. You support our cause, starting from radio bars on transition to Voice of Ggaa, and later on, we decide to climb the job ladder, like any other person who wants to excel out there, to Liberia Public Radio to make it much more inclusive. It's been a while. How are things?
Well, things are okay. I mean, I'm just from home, so I'm energized, especially with the kind of news and things that came from Grand Ggaa. But things are okay. I'm happy to be back here in the United States.
Okay, good. Again, we say welcome. Liberal, don't hesitate. You started running his campaign. You want to start rewriting history. You want to change the constitution now to get Collins back to power. This is how you guys can spoil country overnight. That's why you're starting now. And I don't think I'm going to allow that here tonight. So nobody going to join that sort of baby cry you want to cry here. Okay, let's get it. We will talk a little bit about the association, but one of the cardinal reasons here was your deep your inner involvement this time around in the politics of the Grand Ggaa, in Grand Ggaa, especially when it came to the by-elections. Let's start from here. How you got involved in this process this time around, to the extent you came out in the public. It was not uncovered. You did not look back. I don't know how that process came into being. Why?
Well, thank you for the question. You know, we have the Grain Association here in the United States. We've been working very hard. We inherited leadership from great people like William Yanu and other leaders. We've been doing the best we could to unify the group here in the United States. But even at that, if home is not solid, if we don't have proper leadership, local leadership into Grange, it'd be very difficult for us to achieve our objective of getting Grange to be where we want it to be. So we've been observing what has been going on from 2005 since the war ended. We have seen the leadership that our people has been electing, and physical impact benefits for our people has not been realized. So we thought of getting involved not only in the United States but getting involved back home and helping to shape the situation in producing leaders that will be accountable to our people and be able to give our people the kind of leadership that they deserve. So that's what motivated us, and we decided to establish a pilot project and use Madison after we selected him to see whether the process was going to work. That's how we got involved.
Okay, Liberal, don't hesitate when you want to come in. I didn't. I could be wrong. Maybe heading ahead of my shadow here, Mr. Collins. I don't know you to be someone to almost like put uh, your character or what you have earned on the line for this guy. Tell us a little bit why Madison Guyon was your pick.
Well, initially, we never just woke up and picked Madison Graham. What we decided to do was to first of all evaluate those that were running and see who among these people would be in the best interest of our people. In fact, before we got involved in getting to support Madison, we had meetings and we decided to put together a restoration movement, a movement that will restore our county. Grange is a very great county. We produced the first indigenous president in the Republic of Liberia. We helped to get Liberia to be peaceful today. We sweat, we produce, our brothers and sisters share the blood just to have peace and stability in our country. And for us to be the least among the 15 counties and not having the kind of benefit we expect, it's shocking. So we decided, you know what, we're going to get involved in restoring what we had in the past and making sure that people respect our county. And in order to do that, the first thing we need is to have very decent lawmakers that understand the plight of our people, lawmakers that understand that we were in this struggle and we should benefit as a people. So that's how we established the restoration movement, but we decided to use a pilot project, which is the by-election, to achieve this. So we evaluated all those guys that were in the race, Jeremiah Sokan, Madison, and the rest of the crew. And we felt that Madison has stood the test of time. He headed the Grange Association in Ghana, and subsequently he became the leader of the Liberian community in Ghana. And after doing all those things, the leadership that he produced was something that we felt he could bring to the table to help our people. So after selecting him, we decided to go ahead, mobilize, raise funds, let people know our goal. And the thing about it, Chien District is district number 1. Chien District represents the entire county, I can say. You know, if our first district, the capital, does not have a very good leader, the rest of the people will not have. If we have a good leader, people are going to follow suit. So that's how we selected him and we supported him, and we were able to achieve what we achieved. I mean, the process of making him to be elected is a different process. We'll go through that. I'll talk a little bit about it. But that's how we selected him. So it was not just selected on the fact that we knew him, but we evaluated the entire crew, and then we're able to select him to represent the town.
You're trying to make this conversation difficult because Samson Toh is already throwing the soundbite for us to restructure the constitution to bring you I see him back there, you're talking, and then he's like forgetting now that he's even before camera, he's supposed to be doing interviews. So I wouldn't be surprised when you're breaking Kool-Aid or
No,
Fanta.
no, I have a question, and but in as much as I would like to have this conversation to be so much of a kumbaya here tonight, but I would differ with the president just a little bit. Boston District, one of the best in the entire county of Grandview County, if I may say so. Boston District, we produce food. Boston District is the best. Let's put it that way. But anyway, anybody from Quinama District can come out and say we're the best. Chen District can come out. But so that's besides the point. Mr. President, in your comment earlier, you said that, and which is true statement, but coming from you is very interesting in that even though you're young, but you have been involved for a very long time in Liberian politics as far as counties and representation is concerned. Right after the war, you didn't just pack up and leave because there was a freedom, a chance to do so. You stay and contribute to the formation or whatever you want to call it with what we have now as a peace-loving country. The statement you made earlier, speaking about Grandians, that we sacrifice, our brothers and sisters sacrifice blood, tears, and what have you, and yet still we are not getting the benefit. Mr. President, with your experience, not so much of Grandview Association president, but in Grandview County as a whole, you went to school in Zadru. You're very much grounded into the culture of our people. You're not far removed. You think the fact that you believe we're not benefited, is it the fault of the leadership of Grandview as Grandview County, the leadership of the Republic of Liberia, or the Grandians themselves? Where will you put this fault squarely, please?
Well, good question. Let me just set the premise here. You know, we had a civil war, and the civil war came, and we had the interim administration headed by Sawyer. And the goal was to make sure we go back to normality. But in the process, we had this situation with Taylor having almost 90% of the country. To be able to get people to come to the table, we were all refugees. There were nobody living in Grangey there. And this is a fact. You know, we trying to just retrospect and make people to understand what history is. Grangey County was empty. Everybody in Grangey, you found them in Ivory Coast, you found some in Ghana, you found a lot of them in Sierra Leone and other places. Our people fought and came back home so that people can respect and give them the dignity. They went through the barrels of the gun. Ulimo was established predominantly. They were all Grangians, most of them. Law was established to get it out of that place. Predominantly, most of the people that fought were Grangians. About 40%, 45% of them were Grangians. Model, almost 80%, 85% of them. These people fought to liberate that country. And after Taylor left, that's when we started to have genuine peace. So if you look at the entire structure of the country, you will find out how much Grangians were involved in bringing peace to Liberia. I mean, establishing rebel faction is not something that some of us like. But if it is necessary to create a condition for us to be able to come back home and our dignity be restored, of course, and, we supported the fact. We can't be refugees when our country is still functioning and people are living there. So that's why I said we play a pivotal role, we play a major role. Now that we have the country, what you have, your question is it our fault or is it the fault of other people? We need good leadership to re-echo this situation. We need good leadership, both local and in the national legislature, to make people to know the role that we play. For which today you have Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that were around for 12 years, for which today you have George Weah that is serving. So if Grangey cannot be looked at from that perspective, then we have a problem. So what we decided to do is to make sure we work to fix our own local leadership so that we can have people that will voice of these concerns. As I speak to you right now, and it's very sad. I mean, I lost my brother when I went home before this election situation. So my aunties and other people that were in Grange that wanted to come to Monrovia for the funeral, they had to ride bike from Zwedru to Ganta before they can get a car to come to Monrovia. We had 65 years old, my auntie, then some of them almost 67 years old. And the young guys, in fact, the very Errol Madison that was elected was going for the election. He had to ride bike from Ganta to Zwedru. That's a shame. It's a real shame. We're not asking them to pave the road, but they should have concern that people live on the other side of Liberia.
Let me interrupt you a little bit. Let's have a conversation. Shame on who?
Shame on the Liberian government. Shame on everybody that is down there that looking at the entire southeastern region that is there. So maybe the people in Monrovia don't know. I mean, just for the benefit of the doubt, you ask people, how's the southeastern region? So people are not even traveled there. So,
Mr. President,
if you have lawmakers that can re-echo these things or make people to understand, to bring the situation under just for the concern, then you have a problem. We have people that are not speaking on this issue. So this is the reason why we decided to get involved in making sure we have good people that will represent our people and bring this issue out.
So then the question then is on the southeastern platform now. Do you intend, if this strategy of yours become successful, which is already started, do you intend to perhaps get other southeastern counties to get involved? Because what you just mentioned about the road is true, and we all have been talking about it. But the question now is, you have representation. It's not that Liberia is running without any representation from Grangida County. You have senators, you have representatives from Grangida County. And these people, they are well-seasoned politicians. So the question back then is, are these politicians the reason why Grangidians are not benefiting?
Yeah, Mr. Toll, you talk about the southeastern region. We have so many representation from there, but charity begins at home, and so we want to start from Grangidia. To answer your question about our people, they're not being very vocal. The restoration movement that we put together, that probably in the next few weeks you will hear the entire formation of it, and we will launch it. We are launching it to be able to create a condition where in 2023 we're going to have people that we trust, people that we vow to represent us, people that will speak on our behalf, despite of which political party you come from. We're going to make sure we support them, not only financially, but we make sure the same process we use to get Errol Madison elected, we're going to use that same process to have the next representative of Barson District, to have the next representative of Kunabo District, to have the next representative of Chien District, and the next senator.
Hold on one second. Mr. President Collins, it seems to be that your glove now is already over. Is it a bleaching exercise operation, the restoration? Now, maybe I'm adding my own layer on it. Bleaching, wiping out those people perhaps who are not representing the interests of the county to bring in new faces. Is that a campaign you're going to embark?
Of course, the employers of people that are in the legislature are the citizens of the county. So we, the citizens of the county, want to make sure that we have people that will represent the interests of our people. And like I said, there are people that represent, like, for example, we have a Senator Marshall Dennis, we have a representative, George Bole, we have Mr. Pennon, who is another senator, and we got Chesia Green, and the newly elected person. These are people that have been working. We have seen the report cards. I mean, I had the opportunity to sit and talk to Dr. Bole when I was on the ground. I had the opportunity to speak to Marshall Dennis. I spoke to Senator Zopen on the phone before I left. The only person I never really spoke to was Grant. But come 2023, we're going to evaluate not only them, but other people that we want to get in the race. We got qualified, good Grangidians that can better represent our county. So if we feel that, for example, Mr. Toole is a qualified person. We have a committee within the restoration movement that will do an evaluation, and we feel that we're going to put our weight behind him. We're going to do it. But let me just give you a hint here. We are not only operating in the United States. When we started to do the groundwork of the movement, we found out that Grangians are more in Europe, Australia, to be exact. We got Grangians here in Canada. We got a lot of them here in the United States. Our goal is to recruit 300 minimum Grangians, and the membership to the restoration movement is about $1,000. So if you have 300 persons that are paying $1,000, we're starting January, which is next month. And for 2022, we're going to make sure the 300 persons meet their obligation. Right now, we have 87 persons that have signed out for the restoration movement that are willing to come up and pay their fees. And I can tell you, Grangians in the United States with more than 20,000, we have reduced the number to like 300. Maybe we'll have 500. So in 2022, we expect to raise $300,000 minimum. And in 2023, we expect to raise the same amount or even more. Our goal is to have not less than 500,000 United States dollars before the election in 2023. And we're going to use that amount of money to be able to support financially the candidates that we're going to select. Those candidates,
Mr. President, let me. I hate to put some sort of a damper into the spirit of unity here tonight, but that's what I do. I'm a liberal. I come from these things with a broad perspective. Let's look at it from that point of view. Mr. President, we're talking about Granville County, a county that is rich in culture, a county that is rich in family value. Mr. President, well, how will you then deal with family members that might be seeking some of these positions?
Oh, Lord.
How will you then evaluate a family member who is seeking some of the positions? What are some of the criteria you're going to use?
What is he talking about?
That's not so. That's what I don't like about your conservative view. The liberal is on the floor, and this Mr. Collins, this man, and whatever you guys set up must not be allowed to take any position in terms of trying to take leadership in Grand Ggaa. Look what he did to me. Look what I dressed with a necktie and everything else. He didn't praise me. He went and took my picture and put it underneath you and him. I mean, this is ridiculous. Mr. Collins, please answer my question.
Yeah, let me address the question. The first thing, I don't even know how the arrangement of the photos are done here, but I recognize the suit on you. It looks very great. I wish I had it on.
Thank you.
You know, when it comes to the county, we need to put the people and the concern of the county first before you talk about families. Yeah, I mean, some of us been having family members that have been contesting. We're not going to focus on family. We're going to focus on the plight of the people and who's best. All right. Let me give you an example. The just ended by-election. I'm more connected to Jeremiah Sokan than Ero Madison Guion. Jeremiah Sokan and my sister, former husband, they got 2 kids. My niece and my nephew. So that's the relationship, and that's blood relationship. We work together in addition with the Grand Ggaa Association, which you are.
And that's a question I was about to come to.
So if I were looking at the family situation, I would prefer him. But the evaluation of people it will not be done by individual. We got responsible people that we're going to have on there, and we're going to have criteria that you need to meet. And when you meet those criteria, and the selection is done, people are going to understand it's done based on merit and not family stuff.
One last question, Mr. So, if you don't mind. Mr. President Collins, that is. You being such a good leader, from my perspective, if you guys are putting this together, do you intend to put solid structure in place this time around so it does not become like Grand Ggaa County Association, where when you were in charge, it's not like you, I mean, and I know this story, it's not like you were sleeping, you were making things to happen. But when you left, everything started falling apart. my perspective. Now, do you foresee this organization or whatever it is that you guys are putting together for it to be like an institution instead of an individual structure? Is that what you have in mind on this? Yes, so that when you leave tomorrow or any other person leave, Samson Toe, who has no leadership ability, can take over and still be able to function properly. Is that what we should expect out of you guys this time around?
Yeah, Mr. Toe, we've learned a lot from our plight during the Granger situation here. When you run an institution, you know that you will be exiting. You should be able to put in place things that will be able to maintain what you have worked for or what you have structured. Unfortunately, for the Granger Association, it was not the case. This is very dear to all of us, and I can tell you, I mean, it's not Tillman that is just trying to establish this. There are guys in Liberia that we're talking to, the part of the organizing group, like the former local chairman of Mr. Yanum, T. Wilson Gay, is part of the organizing group. Jean Shilu, he's the head of some NGO in Liberia there. He's a Grenadian. I spoke to him lengthily. He's on board 100%. He got his blessing. We've spoken to Mother Cecilia Toa here. We've spoken to Edmond Babylon. We've spoken to a lot of people here. In Europe, we've spoken to people there. So what we're going to put together here, we're going to make sure that it represents the interest. When we talk about restoration, we want to restore what our parents have had in place. Granger was a better county. Granger was better in the 70s and in the 80s than what it is now. And realistically, the world that we live in, I think as we progress, we should be able to develop. Unfortunately for us, not only Granger, but Liberia as a whole, in my opinion, we're not progressing. I mean, the places you go in Granger right now, the things we had there in the 70s and the 80s, when we were in things like junior high school and high school or elementary school, they were better than what the people got there now. The school system, the local leadership, the way they do things is completely kind of bad off. So to be able to restore those stuff, you need people that will come back to the drawing board. So to answer your question, we're going to establish an institution that we have, that will be able to do things based on merit.
Okay, let me come in here. This is quite fascinating. This seems to be another version of a super PAC because physical cash will be raised. Potential candidates will be vetted for the good of the county. So let me ask this sort of question: will we have anyone coming in? And I hope Samson Toe will not get closer to that committee. See the question he asking. We are talking about society. We are talking about good governance, competent, and he telling me and telling you now, our viewers, family. So he wants to go total now and bring his uncle because he's 65 years or so. He must be representative. He must be senator. I'm not up for that, but he shouldn't get closer. Talking about the road. This is what I received yesterday. This is Peloton Road. Town, whatever town. This is the role. This is unbelievable. You mentioned Helen Johnson Sirleaf, even the WIA. But we also had the cake before us. The former president, Samuel Doe, he was there for 10 years. I don't know I mean, I may not have all of the details. I know something was in the making before it got interrupted, but nothing was done. So it also a backtrack of things that are not being happening. You said you didn't have a chance to talk, or you didn't talk to Ellis Chesia Grant. What was the reason?
I never had the opportunity to meet him. When I went, when I got to Liberia, actually I had to bury my little brother. And when I got done with it, Chesia and Zoe already has left for Granger. So, but Mr. Zoe Pelham being my little brother also, he gave me a call after he came back. So I had the opportunity to talk to him. Dr. Bulle was in Moroville. Marshall was in Moroville, and Ero was in Moroville before he went to surgery. So I had the opportunity to physically meet them and talk to them. So that's why I never spoke to Chesia. I wish I had the opportunity to speak to him. Our concern here is the concern of all of them. I hope that they are concerned like us. Most of the time, you guys will bear me up. The mentality of our people back home is like we got two set of Grangians: the Grangians in the United States and abroad, and the Grangians that are on the ground. And when you really check, you will find out that Grangians abroad are those that are holding up the county. And let me just say this for the record. If you check those that are employed with government within the county and how much they make, is that enough to sustain our families that we have in Grangida? The fundings, the remittance that we send from here is the one that sustains people in Grangida. Grangida receive, next to Mosorado, the highest amount of remittance on the ground. And that money is used to be able to send people to school, to take care of people, homes, feed them, and do almost everything on the ground. So we are involved financially in helping our people. Now, the only way we can stop this whole plight of our people suffering is to get involved politically on the ground, to make sure that those that represent our people are accountable to them. And if we do that and have those better leadership, the president or whoever is in Morovia going to listen to us.
Okay, better leadership before the Liberal comes in. You once upon the time, you were also on Capitol Hill, Capitol building. Politicians, they are not good friend of mine because when they are looking for it, they will restructure it, they will redefine it, they will make it fine. Now we erode medicine. I understand he's from the grassroots coming out. What is the guarantee? I had an opportunity when I was in Liberia a couple of years ago. I had an interview, if not all, I think 4 or 3 members. The other 2, they wasn't available. The caucus is fragmented. They are not talking to one another. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So more or less, it is about themselves than the people, the electors, the people that empower them. What is the guarantee? What is the conversations you gather from these people? And what assurance are you hearing from Mr. Ero? We hope to have him here. That you're going to change the game. What is he going to do that has not happened before? What is the trust now?
I think they just in the election sounded or whistle that not only our people are listening to or they heard. I think the political parties that are stakeholder in the process in Grangida are also listening to. They know that the people are concerned. The caucus, our Grangida caucus, I can tell you this for a fact, that they are concerned also. I had the opportunity to be in the gathering with the representative-elect, Ero, Madison William, and Dr. Bole. And Dr. Bole reaffirmed that with the coming in of Ero, they will have to look at this caucus situation and see how they can get together. And what was encouraging more was the fact that I also discussed with Marshall, and I think he's making a comeback, even though the statement that he was out and now he's coming back is not something that some of us supported. Whether you're majority on the caucus or not, your obligation is to be on the caucus and be able to speak. You can come up with your dissent if people don't carry your ideas. But to be outside and wait until probably you get in the majority before you come back is something that we don't expect them to do. But the fact that he decided to come back is a good thing. Ero received a call from Senator Zopeno congratulating him, and he said he was willing to work with him. He received a call from Chesia Grant, and he said he congratulated him. So this is something that, in my opinion, will start a new process. They've seen that Grangians are tired with the party mandate and all that. They want people to have the people's mandate. And that's what we want them to have to the back of their heads. Because if they don't represent the people, we're going to make sure that they leave because they're representing themselves. And from now to 2023 is just a few months from now. So we're going to make sure we work towards that. So we expect them to learn the lesson from this election so that we can have good representation in 2023 going forward. So to answer your question, I think there will be a difference. I can put my bet on that. And, having a discussion with all these people, I think they're going to sit down and reconstitute themselves and probably start to work in the interest of our people for now.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the comment you made earlier. I thought it was very interesting. There's two sets of Ghanaians, those that are in the diaspora and those that are back home. And it seemed to you that the Liberian diaspora seemed to be holding up the county in terms of economic stimulus and what have you.
Yeah.
The question now is this: there's twofold. One is, do you guys intend to use this opportunity to build some sort of a bridge between those brothers and sisters back home and the brothers and sisters that are here? Second point, or second question in this line, how do you intend to let the Ghanaians diaspora, who very much aware of their contribution, if not more, how do you intend for them not to be condescending to our brothers and sisters back home, which our brothers and sisters back home have always complained about? When we have a campaign situation here, 2020, I was on the radio and I was told, and so many times, Samson told you need to stay in America. You're not part of us.
Right.
How do you deal with that kinds of situation, knowing full well that I'm contributing to the economic viability of Grand County? However, when it comes to discussion, issues that affect our people, they want me to be quiet. On the other hand, you have Granadians, perhaps, I said perhaps, that are here in the diaspora. Because of the opportunity they have to send money home, they tend to be condescending, disrespectful to our brothers and sisters back home, to say, I do this, you do that. In fact, in politics, in branch of politics, we have a group of people that will say, we will send you money, but you need to support our candidate. That kinds of issues, that kinds of thing, the brothers and sisters that are on the ground, instead of you to talk to them, to see reason to support. Our brothers and sisters here, some try to use the finances.
Commercial violence,
yeah,
right.
You're trying to use the finances for these people to, in some way, I suspect, I'm liberal. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's like buying vote. Mr. President, how do you intend to bridge this gap? And how, as some of the things that you will say to these Liberian Ghanaian diaspora, that are here in the United States, feeling like they're supporting their brothers and sisters back home, and therefore they have the right to say whatever they want to say. Mr. President,
if you don't support this person here, I will not send you money. That's so ridiculous.
How do you deal with us?
Mr. Tool, the organizing committee that we are putting together consists of not only people in the diaspora. I just named a couple of guys that live in Liberia that are part of it. And I don't think they're going to sit on a committee where, when we're putting our manifesto together, we say that we be telling people we're in the United States, and because we're paying this amount, we're making money available, you should do this. And, so that's one. The second thing here, we all have an obligation, the leadership that we have established here and the leadership that we have here, to the leadership, the local leadership we have, the superintendent, the city mayor, the members of the legislative caucus. All of us have a responsibility to let people know we are all Granadians. And we need to understand that if Mr. Tool lives in Canada and he decides to come to run, you can't say, oh, you're living abroad, you won't come bring somebody from Canada to be our senator. And, those things should be debunked by the superintendent. It should be debunked by people in the legislature, so that they know that any Granadian that lives anywhere has the right to be able to contest elections in Liberia and to be able to represent the people there. There's circumstances that God was living all over the place. So those are the fundamental things that we will have to educate people on. So let me just give you an example. When we decided to support Ero, when we finally selected him, they got pretty close to like 54 different communities in Chien district. We were able to establish cells on the ground that went to these places daily. We created different pack of ourselves to go to these places and educate people. Initially, people were saying also Ero, that people in America want me Ero representative here. We had to educate them and let them know why is it that we are supporting Ero. We're not supporting Ero to make policy that will benefit you and myself here. I mean, pretty much our children go to better schools here. We get things here in the United States. But equally so, we want those same kind of benefits to go to Grange there, to go to Chien district. So it takes time, it takes the energy, and it takes education of people that will understand exactly what is it that you are getting involved in the support of this person and that person. And what's the difference between them and myself?
Mr. President,
yeah,
it seemed to me now you're telling us, and this is a question, that Grangians now has the capacity, and perhaps they have the metal system now, where perhaps they will try to stay away from Kopu and Chikisu and Maple and Aku oil. And I call it baby top and all the kinds of stuff. You think, do we have the capacity now as Grangian, even here in Bicom, that we have the capacity to stay away from those kinds of stuff and be voters focused on issues voter in Grangian country? Can we reach that?
I mean, from the experience that we just had in the by-election, I can tell you for free, we were able to raise pretty close to $27,000. And, to support the entire process, not just giving money to people to go to vote. We never did that. We educated people. We created conditions for them to get to the poll. We created more radio programs for people to listen to and know why they should support this candidate. And we never gave anybody money. But on the other side, there were candidates that have millions of Liberian dollars, that divided money, that used money, that told people publicly that if you elect this man, it will be an added advantage to us because he knows the finance minister or he knows the minister of state. And our people never bought that. They bought in a candidate that never had opinion. But the message was very clear, crystal clear. And you saw it, you saw the videos, you saw the turnout that we had in Grange there that we put together to come and meet Madison was the kind of George Weah turnout. I never saw it before. Only when I was there when George Weah entered the town when you're running 2017, I when I saw that kind of crowd. So it's possible that our people can get these messages and they can turn away from people giving up bag of rice, people buying zinc for us, or people doing this for us so that we can vote for them. We need to be consistent in these messages. And Ero has to prove to them, which I can guarantee that he will do, that if you elect somebody and put your faith in them, without the person giving you anything, the person is obligated to you to provide better leadership for you. If I come to you and give you money and you vote for me, that was some of these guys, when you vote for them and they are elected, they just go and they don't come back. If they don't do anything good, you don't question them because you're bargaining. You receive money and they got the votes and they got the position. So they owe you nothing. So to answer your question, yes, it's possible. We can do it. I think Grangians are opening up, their eyes are opening, and they can do better.
Okay, Leroy, anything coming for you still? Are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. So. Okay. I am. I'm here. I'm here, and I need for me to be on top. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Alfonso, please put the big brother on top.
Yeah, here we go. Exactly. I'm big brother to both of you. Put me on top.
We run an institution here. He was telling you.
You're talking about institution. You're right.
Yeah. He wants to circumvent. He wants to circumvent the institution now because he's big brother. This is how society and government is polluted. So that's not going to work here this evening. Let me just tell you, stay where you are. I don't even know how you intruded into this whole process here. I'm not even happy of you being here. Okay, that's the Libra. That's who we are. Okay, Mr. President, we always engage our onliners as well. Their comments, their view, we like them to form part of it. And this one here coming from Mr. William Mike Davis. Mr. Toy should be named one of the patrons, and the fees increased to 6,000 for Mr. Libra. Samson, are you welcome there?
No.
Oh, why?
Because I'm not from Grand there.
Oh, okay. All right.
So look. On a very serious note, if this is a group thing, and whatever the group allowed to be part of that, some of us will be willing to contribute. Because to be honest with you, those of us that support you young people, it's very good for you to come up with ideas, because we want you and the entire country to be able to live. You don't have to live in America to live in a decent life. You must be able to live in Grange and be able to move around. So if this is what it's going to cost for us to do these things, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that, Mr. So.
Okay. Again, Mr. President, Mr. Collins, I want you to, like I said, we always engage our onliners to see their feedback. They are part of our conversation here. He's one of our prompt and valuable listeners, Mr. Amos Sangor. He asking a question here. Is this man pushing his agenda in order to run as he can edit in 2023? So let's ask this question here. And I know politicians are not definitive in their answer. Do you have an potential and ambition for 2023? Because there will be, I believe, 2 vacancies? One from
four vacancies.
Oh, 4. Oh, yeah. Wow, man. I think I better start throwing my own.
There'll be 4. But let me let Amos know that first of all, I served Grange in the national legislature before. And I came to the United States and also provide service to my county. I served for 2 terms as a national president of the Grange Association. What I want to see right now is to make sure that the county is strong. The county has better leadership. They got a lot of good guys as compared to me and my skills. I can better run the county and better represent us in the Senate and the House of Representatives. I got no intention to go back to Capitol building. I was there for 4 years. And I don't see myself going there. So to answer your question, I am not and I will not run for any elected office, but I'm going to be a strong advocate of good leadership in Grange County.
Okay, you support Mr. Guian, because I was coming to that question and it's good that you address it, but let's digress here a little bit, because I was about to ask you of Mr. Ggaa Jeremiah Sokan, who also served as a Secretary General of the association here, but I think your decision was based on who best can get the job done, perhaps in your own judgment. I see it, Representative-elect, Madison to be intrinsic, because that position will still be contested. He is completing Senator Zopenos term, correct?
Yes.
So with this group also will evaluate him moving forward from here to 2023. And if anything, if it does improve himself, maybe meeting the criteria or the ultimate gamble that you took to support him, will you also come publicly to say, hey, you know what? I gave it to you the last time around, but you seems not to be on top of the game. I'm taking my support to this other point. Is he exempted or not?
No, he's not exempt. He will be evaluated equally like other people that will be evaluated. He has an opportunity. We selected him. It does not mean that he will have a pass in 2023. So 2023 is going to be an organization on the restoration, Ggaa restoration movement, that will be having all these people, including people that are not even serving. I mean, they got good people that want to run for other offices. So we're going to look at them, look at the track records, and then see whether they can meet the criteria of representing our people. So to answer your question, no, he's not going to be exempt. He's going to be evaluated at other people.
So this seems to be like an avalanche right now for potential elected people. This restoration piece, it doesn't matter where you're going to be, whether you're in Bazon District, Chien District, Kunebo District, and you're going for senatorial seat. This restoration is going to carry on an avalanche to do a kind of comprehensive overhaul review what these people to represent and what they will intend to bring to Grenada County? Is that the ultimate goal?
Yeah, that's the goal. And it doesn't have any party affiliation. You can come from CDC, you can come from any party, you can come from something to a party, and or you can come from the CPP. We're just going to evaluate you based on your potential to lead our people.
Did I hear you saying something to a party?
Yeah, something to has a party.
What a party?
Liberty Party, the only party that is good for Liberia.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to go broad based. We're going to make sure that
so I told you, LPR fans, they are very far-sighted people. They always get ahead of the game here because everybody, we ourselves advocate, because too much they advocate nowadays. I just don't even trust them. They want to talk for you. At the end of the day, not knowing they're talking for themselves. So my hoping when advocate they come in. So here is Mr. Ty Nathan Dennis. If you do not want to go on Capitol Hill, then are you interested in the superintendent position in Grenada, Mr. Collins? That is because, and I mean, superintendent is the will and pleasure of the president appoints you. So you don't want to go on Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill people, but what happens? You're doing all what you are doing now and carrying on like a recruitment, and that's a very good superpower. I would see it that way. But if the government of Liberia, whether you support the president or not, but if you are called upon to serve your county, what would that answer be, sir? That's a more question.
Alfonso Low, listen, the responsibility, I mean, the appointment of a superintendent is based on the president. I've stated clearly from the beginning that I'm not interested in an elected position. I've stated also clearly that I'll be an advocate of good governance in our county, putting into place good people. The president has the right to appoint a superintendent. The president has the right to appoint city mayors. The president got the right to appoint whoever he wants to appoint in local government. If the president feels that I can do better in the county to be able to augment his strength and change the county, it's left for him. If you do that, then that's something I can look at. But I am not advocating here that I want to be superintendent or I want appointed position. What I'm advocating here, it is our responsibility to make sure we have good governance on the ground. We got good leaders on the ground that can turn that county around for the better.
Okay, very interesting. We're going to give our guests a little break to take
Mr. So, before you leave, let me make some sort of a point here, observation to say. And I think perhaps the president hopefully will agree with me. I think this idea that this president is espousing out here tonight, I think not just because of him, but I think it's a wonderful idea to come to think about it. Because what Grenadians, and like I stated earlier, Grenada County has a lot of culture, and family value and family connection is something you don't play with. So I think perhaps this will be a kind of cover to many family members that perhaps will say, for example, my uncle wants to be superintendent or wants to be representative, but I don't believe he has the ability. But I cannot stay in the quarter and tell him, say, you can't make it. You don't do that. That's not what we do in our system. However, I can have this organization, support this organization. When the organization finishes selecting whoever they want, that person can get my support without me standing publicly and telling my uncle he doesn't fit to be a leader. I think that's a selling point that I'm going to utilize mostly when we're talking about this organization. I just want to make that observation. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Before you go, Samson, Alfonso, let me just say this. In the past, when we were going to school or when we were in government, most leaders look up to an organized caucus and ask them for recommendation of people from the county that are willing, that have capabilities, that can lead the county. Maybe they asked them, Ellen did the last time, asked for 3-4 names. Even though they said they sent her, I think, about 4 names, but she never picked any of them, she picked somebody else. But that's what people do. And so the caucus will be aware so that tomorrow, if anything happens in the county, Nobody going to hold the president liable. The president will say, look, I passed the ball over to your caucus. I told them to select names and send it, and based on those names, we can evaluate them and choose somebody that can work with them. So if they send 3 names, 4 names, and they pick any of those names, the person going to work with them. The reason why we got differences now in Grenada and other places in Liberia is because the president and the government go and appoint somebody that is completely different from the ideology that the caucus has. And then they can't even sit down to talk and discuss issues that pertain to the people in the county. It makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to provide leadership, and the people suffer. So I think it's a good thing for us to have a mature and a responsible caucus that will be elected, that will support the cause of the people, and then they can work with the president and see how they can build a better local leadership. And we're not complaining around here. I mean, they will all sit down and talk about road development. They will all sit down and talk about how they can get things going. It makes it easier to run an organization. I mean, to run the county, it makes it easier to run the entire country.
Okay, I'm receiving a very fascinating picture of someone that is falling inside Grenada and sent me the image, and they asked me to display it. So it looks like this is a sweeping process moving forward to 2023. And we already seen some sort of thumbs up for the president, President Collins, taking the bull by the horn. Let's take a quick commercial break. When I come back, that image will surface. I'm Alfonso Zienso here with the most liberal on this network, Bloco Tour. We'll be right back. Let a guest take a corporate glass of water, and we'll be right back. This is Lpr-Tv with Alfonso Zienso, live from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. In today's discussion, we will highlight high-call issues from the motherland, Republic of Liberia, and issues affecting our community. Asking tough questions is vital to me to have my listeners and viewers informed with the sole purpose of demanding answers that are authentic and meant to be head-scratching situation. Oh yes, to add pageantry to the conversation, senior analysts and contributors of the Liberia Public Radio are here to dissect the conversation. From Baltimore, senior analyst Professor Asese Labozalo, CEO, Real Academy and Gideon's Polytechnic Academy in Liberia. Senior contributor Amos George is in Atlanta, Georgia, a critical thinker and critic of the GOL, and opposition Lpr-Tv foreign affairs analyst Leo Johnson's executive director, Empowerment Square, based in Canada, and president, Liberian Community in Canada. And on the radar is Lpr-Tv, liberal progressive, and host conversations with Sam Saint Bloco Bronto in Studio B in Saxton, Sacramento, California, is also on the radar. And of course, the doyen, former state broadcaster at ELBC and ELWA, and former presidential aspirant, Republic of Liberia, James Ggaa, is based in the Garden City of New Jersey, is here. I am your host and anchor, Alfonso Zienso, of the New England Bureau Desk of the Liberia Public Radio. Come, let's join the talking point, fair balance and objectives in keeping news proportional. Be my guest. Okay, here we are. We're going to be, our guest going to be coming back here. The liberal progressive, Samson Branto, as usual, is here to team all here to have these consequential conversations. So let's bring in our guest here. This is what I'm receiving. It's quite fascinating. It looks like let me see here. Hopefully I get here. This is what I quite say. True sedition for Ggaa. I do not know the identity, but we saw these images during the process. They say true sedition for Ggaa. So it looks like this time around, conventional wisdom in politics, financial violence were completely defied. My understanding for folks that we talked to, put close to 30 million Liberian dollars were pumped into that 2020. This just ended special elections with the hope to kind of get the vote on the other side of the whole thing here. So this is quite, Mr. President, when you see this true sedition for Gwion. What is the interpretations of that? Court, you think?
I mean, it tells you that to something broad the situation all about. Do you think our people has changed from receiving the arrest money and all these things, and they're now evaluating? Yes, of course they are evaluating. I mean, like before we vote like 90% CDC because we feel they tell you go to Granger that everything is sedition. These guys are not representing CDC. So apparently our people are doing their own evaluation. They're finding somebody that can better represent it. So to answer your question, Alfonso, yes, our people are now opening their eyes. I don't have anything personal against CDC. I mean, we still got a lot of people that are predominantly sedition in Granger, but the process of selecting leadership in Granger are going to change. I think you've heard from the chairman of the party, the CDC party.
Yeah, I think there was they learn how they learn you the child who can hear the man. All of y'all will not sleep. I think that's what
I
happened.
mean, he has come up to let people know. I think the people need to make the decision. You can't have a political party and you're having primary and people make decision in Morovia. For those that live in the country, it's not going to work anymore in Granger. And I can tell you that for free. So once they come back to the drawing board and they will go back to Granger and let the people make their choices, you're going to have good leaders coming from there. They can represent any party. They can represent CDC. They can represent anybody there. But the people have to make that decision in the selection process.
Okay, if I see this image here in the middle there in the gold suit, he even see his stomach start growing too. He got capital here, his stomach start growing. So that one my last name. And I see you right there. I believe Justin Surrender Clark and some of his close confidant right there. So let me make an educated guess here. My guess beyond this picture here, we were also told there were a lot of conversations held behind the scene. Was there any point in discussion? I know he best suited to answer this question. Did you tell him anything as to how his vote, what he's taking? This is what he have on his agenda. Proper representations, education promotions, agriculture revolution, youth women to development, zero corruption, good health care, community support, time for true change. Okay, this sounds very good. Do you have an opportunity to recap these sort of things that he put out in terms of a conversation that he's not going to do it by himself, but his advocacy, his pushing, his representation for his constituent and the people of Granger can perhaps get that to you. Do you have the opportunity to go through all these things here with you, and what was the assurance?
Yeah, we talk about a couple of things. Number one, he's willing to give 50% of his salary out to his district for development. He vowed to reestablish the committee that is responsible for implementing development in the district, reconstituting that committee. Something that I really supported 100% when he said it. I mean, I was not in the conversation when he decided to do that, but that's something that will make people to be involved in what happens in the district. Unlike with previous people that were there, they determine what they do for the community. But you got a community, you got a Madingo community that live there, you got the Gribble community, you got the different sector of people, including the young people that they will form part of that committee. And then they decide what they do with the money. I think there's $30,000 that's allocated United States dollar that was allocated for the district. He said he's going to work towards getting it. And once they reconstitute the committee, they're going to determine what they're going to do with their money. But he's not the one that's going to dictate to them, which was a very good move. The idea that he intends to give to buttress the $30 by giving 50% of his salary to add to it to see that's something that is commendable. Things are high in Liberia. He got intention to run according to his statement he made in 2023. Other people stacking their funds, keeping it to run, so they're not using it, and he's having these challenges, and he wants to give his money up as something that is also commendable. So we're looking up to him. If I left, we engage a local office in Chien District, Zwedru, and I think the fees for that office will be paid by the remaining money we got here. For the first year, I think it's about $1,800, $1,800 will be dispatching that money probably in the next 2 weeks. so that he paid for 1 year to have an office space on the ground.
Offices in his district.
Yeah, in his district.
Because some of our leaders came here and they lie, big lie, big lie. I'm not going to say kind of sugar. We need to start holding some of our own responsible, because that's part of it. I went to library. If you go to Capitol Hill, there, it's horrible. I mean, the place is packed. The reason is simple, because the people elected them and they don't go back to them. So if you can't come to me, I will come to you in Monrovia. They need to have offices, they need to have staff, they're making enough, they're making something reasonable to maintain an office, so that channels and grievances of their constituency will be channeled there. Go there and have a town hall meeting. They don't do that. I know something told you feeling very uncomfortable what I'm saying here. I just not want to play you off here, but it is what it is. These people, they need to have, they are representing, or they need to have offices in those places. Instead, that's why people always coming to Monrovia. So from what we are hearing, you are one of the top supporter. You got into this point here that I can vividly say, based on people that I talk to now, that because you hear, you are telling us that Honorable E-Roy Madison Guyon will or is establishing an office in his district, correct?
That's 100% correct. I even spoke to the landlord of the place before I left, and we came out to an agreement. The place will be available in March, and E-Roy will be going home out of May or June to dedicate that building. You got 4 bedrooms in it, and we'll have office staff and everything that to serve the people of Chien District.
So, Mr. President, a question that I have is how do you try to get Honorable Madison not to fall within the bubbles? He's a young man, and these kinds of positions, prestigious, of course, these kinds of positions, money is involved. How? What are some of the things you would tell him, or continue to tell him, or you have told him things to avoid, so that he does not fall in the bubbles?
You go there,
yeah, I mean, you're right. Something people in Liberia, most of it, we experience it from people that come and say a whole lot of big things, and in the end, they follow the same stuff that people do down there. But the situation here is that I personally know E-Roy Madison very well. Besides that, serving as leader during the refugee periods, those are difficult times where you don't get paid, and you're just an advocate standing up for your people. That's something that he did in the trenches, and not only me, but Grenadians that live in Ghana, Liberians that live in Ghana, has experienced his leadership. They saw what he has done, in Ghana. So we have a lot of confidence in him. But like I said, I mean, he's a human being. Anything can happen. But we are praying for the best. For what we know about him, we feel he will do better. We're going to give him guidance. Like I said, when we had a discussion initially and we selected him, what we said to him was, we'll make sure you are elected. We're going to give you guidance. We're going to work with you. We're not going to run his office, but we give him the best advices we can. And one of the things was for him to be based in Chien District and not Monserrate. And to be able to help him do that, that's why before I left Monrovia, we were able to establish the situation of having a local office in Chien District. Most of our folks are permanent residents in Monserrate. Mr. Pelon got a big house there. Marshall got a big house. They live there, including Chesia Green. I don't know whether they really got real structure that they don't spend much of the time at home. Unlike people that we live in the United States, where they got the biggest democracy in the world. We saw even Barack Obama that came from Illinois. He was just renting an apartment in Washington, D.C. He goes home to people that he represents. But go to Monrovia, all these guys are living in Monserrate County as if they are from Monserrate County, but they represent Grange there. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at when we talk about evaluation process. You want to represent our county, you got to live in our county. You go and work in Monserrate, and after the legislature is closed, you got to go home. But if you
go home and talk to the people.
You want to make Monserrate your home, then you got to run from Monserrate County. We got to make them to understand their obligation. We can sit down here and look at them and, they just take our votes and go to Maserado and start to do different things. So we got to be strong. We got to be vocal. We got to make them to understand. We've given them so much easy ride, and our people are suffering, and we're not going to continue on that.
So, Mr. President, good, strong words, and I know you're a man of your words. I respect that. However, Mr. President, this young man has been elected, and he's going to be going by 2023. And yet, you said all of these people, including people from even Boston District, that might seek any position in that area, will also be, if they want your organization support, they must submit themselves for evaluation, which is okay. I'm all for that. Mr. President, the fact that Grand Ggaa County, when the rain was cut off, what was some of the conversation the honorable man have had with you in terms of roles and how these things, perhaps from his own perspective, how does he intend to get himself involved in having these situations? I'm not too sure if he can resolve it, but perhaps to alleviate some of the suffering our people go through when it comes to road issue.
Well, thank you. I mean, I will have to mention you here, not because you asked the question, but I did have a conversation with him. I was teasing him in front of Dr. Bole, and I told him, they just elected you representative, but you had to come on bike from Zwedru to Ganta with over 15 of his boys. And then they had to find car. I went to Banga. I told him if I knew when you were arriving in Ganta, I could pick you up and at least you arrive in a car. But it was shameful. But the conversation we had was, after he got elected, let me say publicly here, there are a lot of folks, the ruling party, other opposition parties and other things that congratulated him, wants to have a conversation with him. And I told him, the top of your conversation should have the road stuff. We're not asking people to pave road. We have public works. We got machines. We got machines in Grange there that have been used for different things instead of road maintenance. Let's start looking at the possibility of people bringing this machine. I said we live in the diaspora. Once we see you guys doing it and you want us to contribute, can contribute fuel oil, just to make sure our sisters, our mothers, and our kids, when they're going back to Grange, they're not going to ride on bike. At least they will get in a car. During the dry season, we can work with whoever is there. So those are the things that he intends to bring. And I said I will mention you because I told him that you volunteer. You are an engineer. So got engineers down there. One of them even volunteered to come to do an evaluation of the road and see how they can help. And so if you got this machine, they can advise you on do A, do B, do C. And these are the things I talked to him on. I'm not in the government. I don't know the strength of the government. I don't know how eager the government is to accept these kind of comments and turn it into reality. I don't know that. I hope they listen, and I hope they be able to serve our people. We don't want.
Let's step out of Grand Ggaa for just a moment, Mr. President. Man of your wisdom, and you're a man that know Liberian politics. What is your view, Mr. President, of what is happening in Lpr County with the Lpr County senatorial position presently? What is your view on that? And one last question. The Liberal is on the floor.
Oh, man.
Do not disturb the Liberal. You do that with your conservative view all the time. When the Liberal is in a mood, this is how you try to defeat me. When the Liberal is on the roll, I see some beautiful.
Why are you supposed to be addressing? No, I'm coming. Why are you supposed to be addressing? He said he.
Why will you now try to tell the Liberal to how to ask questions and what question to ask? Mr. So you do this all the time.
Address this question.
He's done with that. Well, then, what are you? Are you the mouthpiece of the president now?
No,
Mr.
That's
So,
not what I'm saying. I'm trying to add up to a voice because you get
Mr. So, will you please let me finish my comment? You see, this is what you do. When you feel the Liberal is getting all of the credits and the viewership are all on the side of the Liberal, then you come in and try to shut me down. You're trying to sanction me, and this is not going to work. I'm the counterweight. Mr. President, in the issue with Lpr County, What are your views on that? And then the last question that I have before the conservative can take over the show is this. Once sedition is always sedition. We remember Honorable William to be a CDC strongman. Is he still a sedition?
Oh Lord.
I will answer your question the way you asked them. But when it comes to the senatorial elections that were held in Lofa concerning Brandon Samuka, I spent most of my time since January up to November making sure that Eroy is elected in this by-election. We take the position that we're in right now. So I will not focus much on the trend. I just know that they've been having these situations there. I've not followed it. I don't have enough stuff that I can comment on the issue there. So let's come to the second question that you have, regarding Madison. They say one sedition is always a sedition. Madison did his first press conference, and I think you listened to it clearly. CDC is his party originally that he was in. Unfortunately, they never selected him to represent the party. But the people decided that he should represent them, and they elected him. The situation with CDC and Madison is left with Madison. But the last conversation I had with him, people were saying, oh, Madison is going to come home. And he said home was Chin District, and he's already home. So it's like, you got issue with your parents at home. And when you decide to fix it, you can sit down and fix it. It will not be to the detriment of Chin District, of course. So it's left with him. He will make that decision. But I can tell you for sure that our focus right now, Madison's focus is how best he can transform the situation that is going on in Chin District. It's not about party mandate, it's about the county mandate and the peoples of the county's mandate.
Okay, let's talk about the root of engagement. This is where some of us frustration comes in here. This guy, he wants to factor in his Liberty Party ideology into this conversation. You're asking a question. You told him that you have had a discussion with Madison. He's not willing to address that, but don't be surprised. He will come and tell us 5 years ago, a 9-year-old, still a 9-year-old. That's why he's trying to avoid that question here. But let's come back to this here. You, once upon a time, President Collins, you were on Capitol Hill there. And what I don't see happening, not just on its Grange, with all of the lawmakers, it's just amazing. More or less, they put the interest of their political institutions than even the very people that they should be representing. They don't have, I don't see that sort of root of engagement. They don't talk to one another. It doesn't matter whether you're sedition, your Liberty Party partisan, or Unity partisan. Consensus building is what helps society. That's what. Common example: this a recast budget is still on a conversation. I yet to see maybe for them to have this sort of. They come on Facebook, they do whatever. That's not on Facebook. You're supposed to do your argument. Go in chambers. That's why we put you there. That's why we pay you. That's why taxpayers pay you. They need to start having conversation with their colleagues and see what is workable, what is not workable. But we don't see them having this sort of conversation. All of the lawmakers have their NGO. As a result, the ordinary Liberian is left by the wayside. Everybody now get Rehabilitation Commission, the National Rehabilitation Commission that should be central government rehabilitation institution. I don't know what to think about having rehabilitation. You need to talk about psychiatrists, you talk about clinicians, different people. They having doing these political projects, and there are folks arguing as if it's a long term. What becomes of those institutions when they leave office tomorrow? That's how government breaks down. So what was the conversation with perhaps Mr. Guillaume? We hope to have him here. We're working with his team to have him here, and I'm quite sure probably you can help in that process. Is it going there? Because he wants to go by maybe 2023 to come with political projects, then he should be a full representation of his constituent. What sort of commitment did you get from him?
Well, Alfonso, when it comes to the structure and how the function of those guys that are at the Capitol building, both the senators and the representatives, it's completely different from what we had when we were growing up. The interest of the people, in as much as, and I'm sure most people that observed and saw people at the time, before I even went there to work, you know, they saw that these people were putting the county and the interest first. And not everybody, to be frank, I'm not using a big brush to just pin everybody. They got some real good people down there, you know. But people, I think what they need to do is to have seminars and let people know exactly what the responsibilities are when they elect you to represent a district there or to represent your county. So that people will not go there and think, you know, it's just business as usual. Some people go down there just to be able to do their business, to strike deeds, to benefit them personally. But in as much I'm seeing this, there are other good guys there that are on the ground in Monrovia. When I listen to the deputy speaker, or what his name, Fonati Kofa, he made a statement that was touching, and, you know, and he talked about how the exploitation of our people, the mineral resources, and, you know, in the surface and other things. And he said he cared less about being re-elected. He got to speak on those issues. So these are the kind of things we expect of people in
the
yeah. These are things that we expect of people that represent us in the national legislature. But you can't find it happening. These people side with people. Look, I can tell you, you go to Grand Gila, they got over 1,500 yellow machines in the bush. They got holes. People dredging from the rivers that we got, the Kavala River, Dube River, and other things, things that never happened before. My village, I got Ghanaians that live there that are doing gold business, and it's all over the place. You can't go to, there's no Liberian that can leave from here and go to Ghana and go to any village to say you're even going to fish in there. Not to mention taking mineral resources. And happening in Liberia. It's happening all over in Liberia. And the very places that they're getting these things from, those people are dying from poverty. They don't have anything. But these guys are taking millions of dollars of worth of mineral from there. Grand Gida, all the young guys are there, they're not going to school. Let me tell you just a short story in Kunabo district. The 12th grade class, they said they had, I think there were about maybe 12, 13 persons there, you know. And 4 of the guys that were there left, and they left the 12th grade because nothing was happening there. If you finish high school, there's nowhere to go. In fact, they can't even pass national exams, some out of 5. So they decided to go to the Go camp. And those guys went to the Go camp. The 4 guys that went, according to the story they told me, after 2-3 months, they came back. Those guys bought a bike. They wore the best jeans you can think about. And they were okay. And those other guys that left in the class saw the men in that condition. After a few months, nobody left in that class. The other rest out there, they left. Yeah, I don't know how true is the story, but somebody told me the story from there. Those are the kind of things that are happening there. People found the opportunity of going to the gold mine because there's nothing to fall back.
That's what they found life. That's what they found life.
All the young guys who go to gold mines, the people you see there are young people, 18, 19, 20 years old, guys that. So the next generation to us that's supposed to provide leadership to maintain what we're putting together is nowhere to be found. So what happens in the next 15, 20 years? Not only to Grand Gida, but all the counties that we got down there. It's not only happening in Grand Gida, it's happening all over. Bond County, other places, people just, I mean, they're working so hard day and night, taking all the resources out, like maybe after 6 years from now, they will not have the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Gida, even my own village, Grand Gida as all, if not all, but a significant portion is the breeding grounds of the Burkinabe. And we had Chelsea Grand came here and said that was ECOWAS, this and that, ECOWAS can't stop it. Give me a break. This is another thing here. And because I was told, I was in a conversation with young Grand Gideons yesterday, and these were some of the things that they frown on. When you go to Nima County, the machines and stuff, they're rehabilitating roads and stuff like that. Kai Fali, who is the superintendent, whether the machines are functioning or no matter where it is, Grand Gida machines were taken, they were in Sano there, whether they went on a contract or whatever the situation it was, we yet to know. And we have lawmakers. That thing came out until some ordinary Grand Gideons have to step up to the task. So that is a concern because these are lawmakers. They should, in as much as the president appoints the superintendent, they also should work in coordinate. They should coordinate. The lawmakers should have a greater portion of what is happening administratively in the place. And we didn't hear any of these people coming out to front or to condemn or to see why and how these things left Grange when they should be maybe on the Peloton road. Yeah, I'll be forced to post the road, or maybe then probably something to will get on the flight to go tomorrow. Look at this road here. Look at this place here. It's almost like people, folks that are in Damama or Dama Creek or whatever they're digging just for this car to park. And something has talk and talk and talk. We have reached out to everybody. I think he talked the same fanatic Kofa and all. So that why I was just asking fanatic Kofa and all, or is he just talking? That's a different thing here. But are they? Do you have an opportunity, Mr. President, to address these things? Because these people, they should represent the people. And if the superintendent thinks that he, just because he's an executive appointee, he can do anything that he wants to do, this lawmaker too should have the balls to also meet the president of the Republic of Liberia. Say, hey, yes, this is your guy, but this guy is not representing our country. And they should be able to stand up like, man.
I think that they are concerned, you know. Look, I have the opportunity to speak to
people
Dr.
should
Bole.
die concerned of why, Mr. President.
Dr. Bole and myself spoke when I met him, and he expressed a similar concern, most especially with the county local leadership, yellow machines, and other things. But he also stated something that I never knew. He said, Tillman, I'm the oldest person in the House of Representatives. So, you know, he's with bunch of, because at the time was sitting down with Era, and he said he addressed him as his colleague, and I was laughing. He said, yeah, but realistically, he's my colleague. But I just want to say for the record that I'm the oldest in the House of Representatives. You know, but he stated something like, you know, he's thinking about retiring, but he wants to mentor people to be able to do this. He's concerned about the plight of good leadership in the county. He expressed concern about the yellow machines. He expressed concern about the roads condition and all that. I told him, I hope you'll be able to, you know, do more than what you have done, because expressing concern here is not just enough. You know, the president is available. Some of these things we talk about, to be frank, maybe I don't know whether the president really knows. So you got an opportunity as a lawmaker to find time, your team up, and set an appointment and meet the president and lay down some of these issues so the president look at it and see what he can do. Because he's the chief executive. He can talk to the Minister of Public Works to work along with our people to see how we can improve the conditions down there. You know, the concern about us taking our yellow machine and lending it to people, those are things that they need to.
Are you saying the president is not aware? Let me play the devil advocate here, because for us, we don't just hold back.
Perhaps he's not aware.
Okay. I'm doubt that if he's not aware. He travels on that road. He went for a campaign. Moluba, where his name said Moluba Molu, I don't know whether he went by air, and all the other folks, they're going by air because they know very well that road is not accessible. But they were there and they were running campaigns. So where the thing, that sort of magic powder came from now, that the road is just it's easy, cool to ride on. But what I do agree with, it's not just being able to lawmaker. They have to navigate. They have to be able you can disagree with party, you can be in the opposition, and this is what lacking in our political institutions, lack of political tolerance. You can't be at loggerhead with the executive and you expect your agenda to go through. Yes, so there is a way, it's a bargaining chip. You gotta give and take. Even like here in the US, and I don't think it's different from in Liberia. You have to, you know, that's the same thing I was just talking about this budget here. They need to sit and look at it to see what is applicable and things of a priority, identify it and say, hey, we can handle this one because this is a priority. We can handle this. This is not of a concern now. We can push this here. But if everybody just like want to be on their own and want to act like a King Kong, then we will not go anywhere.
Yep. And you're right. You know, establishing our relationship with the executive from the legislature regarding the county is very, very important. It's very important, and I'm sure anybody who's president, because whatever happens in Grange, even though we're blaming our lawmaker, but all they blame the president. And I don't see the president going to sit and fold his hands and say, "Look, I will not listen to these people," because what if good things come from other Grange, the the credit goes to the president.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they should be able to create that relationship to be able to meet the president.
The executive must be held responsible. Our lawmakers, they have their share, but the executive not, because that role is not just all about Grand Ggaa. That's a national security concern. What happens when Cote d'Ivoire, when there's any incursion down there? How can they even send troops? How can they even rescue their citizens? So people will be left behind there. You know, just yesterday, Jerry Banto from Samson Town. When I got this image, there was a lady who was in a severe situation. They can't get her anywhere. They managed to pull her on a motorbike to get her to Tapeta. How can two persons on their way? I mean, and that was it. She died, and they have to bring her back because these roads are bad. So they are all national security concerns. And this is why they need to speak out. They need to engage those people that are in concern. Our time is running out. We're not going to keep you here, but in the last 5 minutes here, you are facing Grand Ggaa. You are significantly involved into the establishment, good governance, good leadership, educating the people how to go about to make a selection. However, when we come back here, the Grand Ggaa Association that I knew a couple of years ago is not like that. So how can you throw this ball across the ocean when the house here? I mean, I'm not going to miss it here. The group is the organization is not as it is as it used to be. I think we need to have some sort of a conversation to make it be and maybe fix wherever we went wrong to fix it. Are you also working towards that to talk to all of the actors to see the Grand Ggaa associations is unified again? Because ultimately that will make us to achieve what you are doing as well.
That's true. Alfonso, I think both of us attended the convention in Minnesota. There were two things that we did. The conference came up. Number one, agreed to host the elections. The second thing was to put together a structure, or team or committee that will restructure the entire organization. And we expected that report to come up the following year in the next convention. That was the mandate that was given to the president-elect, James Yubote. And since we left from down there, we haven't seen it. We knew it was about time because 11 years ago, we had this same situation. And Marta Kana, the administration that Mr. Tosef in, put together, asked Mr. Yanu to reconstitute the place, come up with a new constitution, and see how we can get the organization going forward. And we did. I served as Secretary General on that committee. Mr. Yanu came up with a decent constitution that was able to engulf everybody and change some of the things that we had. And it went for like 10 years. We see the rise. We saw the amount of people that came to the organization. The organization has increased from like 8 now states to almost 20 states, 22 states before I left. So once that mandate is given you as president, you need to carry out the mandate, put a committee together, and then try to create documents that restructure the organization. That has not been done. So even if you bid do Moime, you come here and do this, those are not accomplishments that can hold this organization, to operate.
That's the fact. I told him I'm not going to contribute.
I mean, we have not had conventional people will come and say because of COVID. I mean, this is the best time to do it since we're not going physically to convention. The committee are going to have enough time to be able to put this documentation together. And then if we have elections now, we leave from there. We still got for the full member board. We still got the same financial thing going all over the place. The same thing that we had 10 years ago that what we still have. So to answer your question, we still open. The president needs to be able to give us ears and take these advices. We need to put a committee together that will restructure this organization. The Eminent Council, which I'm Secretary General of, is willing to. Martha, who's the chair, is willing to form part of that committee. We expected the president, everybody to be able to implement that. Up till now, they have not done it. We haven't seen anything. So we still got the organization lagging here. And every time we see things that come on social media, it's about, how they call it, movement in Grand Ggaa. We can build the best movement in Grand Ggaa when we don't.
What is the purpose of a movement? Children are not even going to school.
Here in the United States, we're not going to have anything.
What's the purpose of the movement? Children are not even going to school. They come and look at movement, what do we eat? And what is the dividend? Is it breaking? And those are some of the questions we ask because I don't see it as any achievement. It's nothing. As far as I'm concerned, it's a waste of resources, and some of us not going to put dime in it. As far I don't care how they interpret it, because it's not a priority as we speak now for Grenada County. The priority now, maybe like at a time, Mato Tutman Hospital needs to be much more equipped. They need to look at the school system and all of that, the laboratory, things that they can do that will leave a hallmark.
The only thing I can say on this Grenada debacle, as far as I'm concerned, it's a wonderful thing.
Wonderful what?
It's a wonderful thing as far as I'm concerned. I said, as far as I'm concerned,
so wonderful thing.
It's a wonderful thing as far as I'm concerned. Let me explain myself, Mr. So, if you don't mind. It's a wonderful thing as far as I'm concerned. What's happening right now, because the section are now gaining ground. I'm saving my $50 convention fee, and I'm going to Boston District Convention, and I will pay my $50 in there. So, Grenada County, if you don't want to come together, so be it. The section will take hold. We're not going to wait for Grenada County Association before the section and other places get going. We will support the section. Even if I'm not from Queenable District, if Queenable District having something and I'm able to support, I will support it. Grenada County, you want to come play your choir, enjoy yourself.
Let me go to the caller, but I see the reason why he's talking that, Mr. President. Every time Boston in the last 2 years, he's been a guest speaker, and every time he gone there, he eat good. That's why he get out good tea that he call in the county. Let me go to the caller here. Caller, are you there? Good evening. I'm here. Good. Yeah, welcome, buddy. How are you?
Thank you again. I'm not good. I'm very angry. I wanted to call you to force my anger.
Okay. Don't let the pressure go up. We get insurance for AL.
Yeah, man. No, I just look at the show. I was just so angry. I said I have to call you and say this. I'm embarrassed. I'm seriously embarrassed as a young man. You know, looking at where Grenada is right now, it's an embarrassment. The fact that people have to go from Grenada to Ggaa to get Ggaa. We know our history in our country. And Mr. Yvonne talking about building statue for don't cause more harm to our people than any other crime in our history. And you building monument for him. Look at the situation of our people. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Looking at it, where we fall into in the counties. You know, it's embarrassing. Look at the Ggaa highway from Aurora to Ggaa. What are the lawmakers doing? Why they can't advocate for the government to build a highway for us? Why they can't advocate for it? We got weak people there. I would not cry people. I would not show people. Why they can't advocate for us? Well, I mean, no, it really making me angry because the Grenada Association are one of the things that they're supposed to fight for. To go in there and get a highway. The people from Nima County, all the influence that they use. That the guy in the government, they use it for the betterment of the people. They're developing a country. Look at how we're lagging behind. We produce the first indigenous president. Wow, people got to show for it. Destruction, war, and then we left back in pitifulness in our country. What are we doing? Even the people in America, the host on the show today, past president, President Emeritus. What are they for our people? What are they for our people? I'm a young man. I'm only 29 years old. I'm a very young man. But looking at it, it hits in my heart today. Even since my mom born me, I never went to Grenada. I came to the country very young. But I'm a crime man. My family from Port Town in Grenada country. But looking at our condition today, so I also went to school. Who making money? Our people suffering. We one of the poorest people in the southeast. There, a strong people. We had kingdoms back in the days, and now we are one of the least. Come on, Mr. So that Grenada Association in America, they're not doing justice for us. They're not doing justice for our people. I just want to call and say that. It really breaking my head. Really making me angry.
Okay.
Really making me angry.
All right. But what I would say, don't allow your pressure to go up. Thank you so much. And that's what we represent here, to allow people to speak. And I was out there. I told her that I'm not paying down for it because it's not. It's not of something for
Mr.
me.
Right. Mr. So, I think the young man is his concerns are good. I just want to differ with him when it comes to what he said that the late president caused more harm to Grenadans than good. I don't think it's the case. Or what we young people need to do is to set our priorities straight, and what we're not doing, and we need to be able to focus on our county and help to create the better leadership we have. Though had the opportunity, you were there for 10 years, and we know the circumstances through which he came to power. First 5 years when he was down there, he was there because he was a military leader. And then after that, he got elected for the last 5 years. 6 years, but the war came and then he left. I don't think he was he was the president, but it was not his responsibility to make sure that we from Grange just get ruled. He was president for the entire country. So I disagree with him that the president caused more harm, to the Crown people than good. The rest of the things, focusing on the Grange Association here and making it better to be serviceable to our people is something that all of us need to look at.
Okay, let me go to the caller and so we'll wrap here for the night. Now fire to number 8420. Are you there? Caller, are you there? Hello? 952. Are you there? Okay, I'm not hearing you. Okay, guys, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah, we hear.
Okay, well, Mr. President, we want to thank you so much. Is there anything specific that you want to touch on to people listening, monitoring? I think, okay, this guy, I think that Prince Double here. Hold on 1 second. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. So.
Yeah, you call, you in bed or what?
No, I have my phone. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead quickly before we wrap up. Mr. Double from the Boilers Room. The CEO is welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. So. The former president, welcome back, Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Prince.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that particular role that the people talking about, you got 5 counties from the southeastern region over there. Each of them got 2 senators, like 10, and the representative. When you add them up, there will be around 15 or 18, something like that, plus almost 30 people coming from that in the house. And we got the president from the southeast, the speaker, the deputy speaker, the pro tem, the finance minister, the bank governor, and they're not even thinking about that rule. It's a shame to look guys. The CDC government is a real government that's sort of put a rule up, some more genuine name now. We want to know what it got for the people that are counting. Are they there to get use those 5 counties to give them votes and let them be? I traveled now road from Ganta to Zwedru. I took 3.5 hours from Morovia to Ganta, from Ganta to Zwedru. So I was born on first time traveling that kind of terrible road in my life. I spent almost 9 to 10 hours on that road. And the guys, you have those guys who representing us, they can fly, they can pay $200 and fly into Zwedru. So they don't even care to talk about the road. They need to vote these guys out. What was according to them, putting together, we're going to put our money there. We got to get Eddie Grant out of there, get George Bode out of there, get Marshall Denny out of Joe. He lucky because he got there, so he got 9 years. But we're going to make sure we clear it and put people who can think the Madison Gwen. I spoke to that man in Richard Nation, even when the Crown having meeting. I met him in Grand Chair, talking to his people from street to street. I was on Mississippi Harris Street. When I man was passing, educating the people to do the vaccine for the COVID because it's spraying around and can kill people. These are the kind of people we need. We don't need COVID people then. People go around and share a cup of rice and they make our old people to pay for the poor when they want kind of day or COVID. Those kind of disgraceful thing. When I often a year, the other guy asked me, what they call COVID. So I said, man, a cup of rice. I ain't dead. That person said again, cup of rice.
This guy is crazy.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the show. Thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Papa Samson told from all the way out of Sacramento, or I hope you're doing good. I will call on you so you can come on my show so we can talk the way forward of the GGAA. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Samson too. Wish you luck. All right. Okay, yeah, gentlemen, Mr. President, we want to thank you so much. I mean, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
All the people that this is. Can you let's hear from you. We don't want to keep you here. We hope to be tapping into your expertise here and there. But we are very, very deeply humble here. Please do us a favor too. Maybe through you, we need to have the honorable representative here, so we'll have a conversation with him as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think it's necessary that he speak to the Grenadians here. I will do everything in my powers to connect him tomorrow to see whether you guys can make some arrangement. There's poor Grenadians and Grenadians around. Would like to see him and hear from him. So I will do that.
Okay. So what's your final message as we about to take off here this evening?
Well, I just want people to know that the best that we can do for our people is to get involved in advocating for better leadership and better governance at home. We'll not be having the conversations if we really get good leaders, people that will be accountable to us, accountable to those that are there. So I will ask people to keep following on social media. We'll be coming up with the launching of the Grand GDEP restoration movement, and then you can read the manifesto and understand. Got no personal stuff. The goal is just to make sure Grand GDEP rise again.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope other countries they will tap into what you are doing. If that's something, one is authentic, one is genuine. We here at LPR, that's what Liberia Public Radio represents. We, as long as in the interest of Liberia, not not too politically correct, of course, but because there are some people they do not need to be in a house and they are there, and that's the problem. So as long as they are there, the executive, the judiciary, the entire system needs a political surgical operation. And that's the only way we will get this done here. We're not going to wait for something told in here, way of try to model thing here because they don't want people to feedback. President Tillman Collins, we want to thank you so much for your time, and we're looking forward on a regular engagement because I think what is lacking is information sharing. That's the reason people are not also making informed decisions. But thank you so much for your time this evening. The Liberal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for once again coming on Labron Public Radio. We hope that you will find time again to come back to enlighten us because, as usual, whenever your presence is here, we know that you're here because you speak and you speak with sense. So thank you very much, and we appreciate it. The only thing I continue to say is your leadership is being missed. And I might not be the only person that believes in that because truthfully, things that you were doing when you were president, I think if other brothers that came after you was built on that, I think our voice, not only here in diaspora, we could stay here and represent people back home by speaking directly to the government of the Republic of Liberia on behalf of our people. But because we are so fragmented here, we are unable to come together and speak with one voice. So again, I say thank you, and please don't sit down, continue to do the work you're doing. And I think it's paying off, to be honest with you. And I hope this is not just a fluke, because I don't believe in that. I do believe in your leadership, and we will support you, whatever it is that we have to do together to get this thing going. So thank you very much, and I'll say good night to you as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Okay. All right. That's the voice of President Tim Collins. The Liberal, what do you make of what Greenleaf Restoration something movement?
Yeah, Mr. So I think it's an organization whose time has come, to be honest with you. I think life is very funny. Some maybe almost 8 years or so ago, Mr. Nyano had came up with an idea, what we call almost like a restoration type, but it was based on Liberia, not just Grand GDEP. And the intent was, before the 2005 election, the intent was to be able to provide each household in Liberia the squeeze down volume of the Constitution. Just pick up the part that voter responsibility to educate voters. And we were not able to succeed because when the war got back in Liberia, those who were vying for these positions decided to shoot us down. Not literally, but they decided to block us because we were trying to engage, but we needed foot soldiers, and we were not getting the kind of foot soldier that we're looking for. But here right now, this idea from Mr. Collins and his people, it's going to be very helpful, because if Honorable Madison is re-elected based on his performance and not based on how many people's scholarship he pays, and not based on how many women baby top he buys, and based on his performance of how to help Grangidians, not individual Grangidians, but entire county to benefit from his leadership, then I think he will be re-elected. And if that kind of situation is successful, like the Mr. Collins is saying, where the honorable will have his own office in Chair district and work from there, and only go to section when the section time is there. Other than that, you stay in Granjide and mingle with your people. I think people are going to learn from it. And I think all of these people that are going around misrepresenting us, thinking that they're representing us, they would think twice. Even Honorable Zoe Penno, who was there for 9 years, because if he's not able to represent Grangidians, he might get cold shoulder. And if the party scene, CDC, the figure that nobody in Granjide is in support of Honorable Zoe Penno, they were dropping like a hot cake. So your constituencies, the people that you support, that you're representing, if these people are supporting you, then your power will be increased among your people. And you know what our people say. I know they were out to the war. So for when they are there, pony are there na ya duwe ya mukuka nere nyokru. Ya ponyo ne ade unwa support po say kuka nje. This is exactly what most likely will happen. The intent of this organization will be so powerful. The powerful organization that this whole thing that Tillman and his people are bringing to bear is going to be interesting. However, Mr. Soul, the jealousy and the jealous minds among us.
Is this Prince Double here? That writing Grangidian need to stop empowering CDC. Oh my goodness. That's why this Cheni Ashibi, when things fall apart,
That's wow. That CDC Zoe. That CDC Zoe. He's the most powerful seditious in Grangidia. Listen to him. But let me make my point, Mr. So. Let me make my point, Mr. So. So the jealous mind among us, sooner or later, if this organization is strong and is impenetrable, then we will succeed. But if this organization that Mr. Cully and his people put together, if they allow certain people to get involved and start these kinds of whatever it is that is started in Granjide Association, then we will go nowhere. And believe me, there will be people that will try to be coming into this organization and try to say they're going to try to get involved and
you claim to be liberal, but your liberal idea sometimes it makes me to wonder, like a lost guy. Certain people, you becoming divisive now. Who are
Mr.
those?
So you see, this is what you do. This is what you do. I'm being very honest. You want to tell me we don't have jealousy in Granjide County? We don't have jealousy among us? We don't have jealousy.
We need to establish an institution as an institution. We need to establish discipline. So if you can get a high head like a rack, once the institution has a guardians or guidelines or principles to run on, you're not going to come and bulldoze and say this and that.
Mr. Watch and see. First thing you need to look at very keenly, from your perspective as a journalist, watch the Constitution or watch the manifesto that are going to be put together by Mr. Collins and his people. watch and read the language, and they see how the language will be written. This will inform me.
It's not, yeah, okay. Well, I don't know whether you have access to it. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not going to predict or preempt.
Well, I'm just saying the way the language is going to be crafted.
Why would you say that? On what purpose you are
because I know who I am. I'm not somebody. I don't beat around the bush. I'm a liberal. Look, Mr. So, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. If the language that these people are going to put together,
let me just tell you,
if it is unifying, then it will be very difficult for anybody to penetrate.
Upon my return from Liberia, I will be part. I want to pay my own, and I will ensure that you are not even closer to that organization, because you started off here with this whole family thing, and so that's how you and other people. You are some of the people who
you heard the president the other day. No contribution, no drink. So if I'm contributing, I got my vote in there. Mr. So, yeah, you think I'm stupid? I'm going to pay $1,000 and I'm going to sit down and let Mr. So run me out of an organization that I'm paying $1,000 to? Is that no contribution, no drink? You heard the EULA president here on your show saying that. What makes you think that I'm going to sit down here and Grandita push me around after I pay my contribution? Contribution, you drink.
Yeah. I think it's a water course, and not just on the graduate. I hope it's going to take a holistic approach. You're going to be honest into their talking point, because we can't just keep having this, put people there and they're going to bed. Let's, okay, we're about to go here, but this one here, it caught my eye here today.
Mr.
The liberal.
Yeah, Mr. So. The tiny sedition, they don't frighten me anymore.
No, it's not a matter of frightening.
They're doing crisis. That's what you heard, Eugene Falcon. I
feel bad for the president. I feel bad, and I just don't understand. People think running government is something. They're not listening to Eugene Falcon. And I know he has his own things going on or whatever it is, but Fagon is doing an eye-opening. But to see the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, so this now, can this translate into vote? As it worked in the past, is that what this sort of exhibition, is that what it's supposed to be doing? I don't get it.
Mr. So, the CDC, it's a joke, to be honest with you. The way they're behaving right now, it's a joke. If I were these people, that's why you have to pivot. That's why you do retrospect to say, where were we? How did these things happen? What happened here? Sedition and the hierarchy, they're not even asking questions. They got flogged massively, 2020. They got flogged just this gone election. Snow beat them. Madison beat them in Grandita County and other places. They got flogged. They're not even asking questions. They're done. Here he is in Grand Bassa County, I believe. And you have all these young people. Look at the amount of motorbike that was on the road. Even if they were to go against anybody in Grand Bassa County, they're gonna get flogged again. Why? It is not because CDC did the bad policy or what have you. If you look at CDC policy, the pro-poor agenda, I've been saying this here almost 2 years ago, Mr. So. The pro-poor agenda is just like the code of conduct, the pro-poor agenda. If these people were to follow the pro-poor agenda to the letter, nobody can put foot. But they're not. They decide. In fact, there's a rumor going around that people are upset with only 3 people running the government. They don't involve.
You saw the comments by Chairman Moloba Molu, even though he did not call name, but one can't easily make a guess. His tone, his tone of direction, where it was going, and that hey, this party, this tendency of 3 persons just making the selections and speaking entirely for the party to say, oh, this should be, and it is that party, that sort of a easy pass. It must come to an end. The vice president re-echoed that as well. But to see them to behave like this, is this a sort of retreat? So what I did is that a competition now, Joseph Boyka were in this play, Boyka, Nyobli Kanga, and why his name Benena, they having their own stuff. So they are gone there now.
Because CDC, Mr. So CDC refused. The hierarchy of CDC, you know, Mr. So sometimes I sit down, when I look back at some of the things that I've said on my own show, I pat myself on the back. From day one, I've been saying to Moloba Molu, you go and get close to the president. Go, don't let these people put the president in the bubble.
This is what happened. It's not an issue. Moloba has this. What Moloba Molu did at the time, and then he said it was a liquor talk, it was a deliberate action to get to send a signal. It was a wake-up call. You think he's stupid? Moloba Molu is not stupid. And the president did realize that because there was some strong people, the Akaras Gray, the Thomas Fallas, Joseph, all of them were from in that belt. They all kind of like they were forcibly behind him because there was a few people who did not even try to he was barricaded, he was disconnected completely. So you know why? He has to be politically strategic to come up with something to show that he is the party chairman.
Right, Mr.
You know,
So
why were you think he's going to come from that's the article in the New Dawn that
Mr. So
come to an end. 3 persons cannot run a political institution.
Mr. So, since these people came to power, since CDC and Dr. Weah came to power, how many people names in the entire cabinet position, besides Samuel Twer, McGill, and Honorable Jefferson Kochi? Let me start all over. Honorable Samuel Twer, Honorable McGill, Honorable Jefferson Kochi. What other name you can hear? Nothing. These people, their need die. And if you're working, you don't hear nothing about them. Let me speak the real English here tonight. Mr. So, what CDC continue to do and what they're doing and not working. But CDC people said they're not teaching. They said they're doing good things. Samuel talk about, he said they got surplus. Look at the budget they put together. Look at the budget. You know how many money they put for themselves? You see what I'm saying? So CDC said they're doing good things. Okay, we will see. You're going to Bassa. You all the people ride a motorbike. They will eat your money free. And then 2023, we will be here. We will be here. Boom, 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 boom. We will be here. We're not going to fool around. Mr. So, on a very serious note, what CDC and sedition continue to do is not good for them because they know, and they
Can the president himself?
The president, I told you, Mr. So, the president is in a bubble. The president thinks that they're doing good because this is the statement they gave him, that you're doing good. And here's the thing that really fooling all of them. The president is so popular. The people tell you, say you're doing good. And when he steps out of the executive marshal, Mr. So, when he steps out of the executive marshal and goes places, he has a lot of crowd. And he believed that. The crowd are there to see him, not because of a good policy. They are there to see him because that George upon we are. They're not able to sedition and unable to distinguish that, to separate that. People come to see George upon Weah, not because Dr. Weah, the president, policy are so good for Liberia. People coming to sympathize or whatever with him. Far from it. Far from it, Mr. So. And
let's
so
see,
they
let's see,
will learn
let's
a
see.
lesson.
Let's see this again, because it almost. Let's see this again. Let's see this. So what they have done, they are invaded the street. I'm quite sure you are road expert. I'm sure that the entire street there, right?
Yes, yes.
So
That's the entire 24. If there's a shooter, maybe 28 the most.
So from what I see, I could be wrong. It means once they are with this here, you can't. No, there's no way car. So it's like a one-way car.
That's exactly exactly my point. This is not one way. You know, this most likely is a two lane. So one car going, another one coming, but they're coming their way. So they block everybody off.
Everybody block now. They alone.
Exactly.
They alone taking.
And most of yes, they think now. You think no taxi driver that's supposed to make 2 cents, 3 cents to feed their family tonight. Because of this kinds of stuff, they are unable to carry any passenger. You think people are gonna forget it? No, they're coming in our way. We like it like that. The way the people, the way CDC doing, we like it like that. CDC continue to make mistakes, we like it like that. We will flog them.
Who we?
Yeah. Just leave it the way I say we. I know you want to start something now. I'm enjoying myself. You want to put a damper into my enjoyment here this evening. I'm having a good time, and now you're telling me who we. Don't worry about who we. I said we will.
Joseph Boyka?
Mr. So why do we have to call him again? Why are you coming? Of course, Dr. Baka. Of course, Dr. Baka. Dr. Baka is the only stabilizer in this whole game. Dr. Baka is the only person that's going to stabilize this whole situation and bring Liberia back to what it's supposed to be. Liberians are now spectators in their own country. Under Dr. Baka, Liberians will not be spectators under their own country. Mr. So what are you talking about? Are you with me or you're confused?
Are you on planet Earth?
What? Because I said Dr. Baka will lead you. No, I am in Town.
No, I think you are in Town. You are completely disconnected because I don't know.
Mr. So, here's what's going to happen to you. Once we take position, Dr. Baka become president of the Republic of Liberia, LPR will be given a platform to say, now go and broadcast, free of charge, go and broadcast and carry the name Dr. Baka, who is now your savior and the person who has won everything, Mr. So.
Well, let Boyka settle who's going to be a vice president. Ggaa and Banana Euro fighting away. Well, Liberals we're going to end it up here.
No, you're not going to end it up. Dr. Baka has no issue about vice president. I told you the last time. Mr. So, you're not listening to me. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait until CPP settle the issue as to who's going to be the standard barrier. Once that is settled, then we're going to know who whatever vice president. You can't come and put words in Dr. Baka's mouth right now.
You will settle?
Of course, we're going to.
Okay. All right. We want people to settle. All right, the Liberal Progressive, I want to thank you so much for being here. But honestly, I'm just not happy with this political institution, incling the man.
So we're not here to make you happy. It is not our job. Mr. So, it is not our job, the CPP, to make you happy. It is our job to make sure Liberia is safe. So whether you're happy or not,
There's
not our problem.
no safety guarantee, either with Joseph Boyka and what we're seeing. That's a completely chaotic. It's almost like a Trump era that we are already in Liberia. So why
Dr. Boyka was here in the United States. You
and
saw the tremendous turnout he had. Dr. Boyka was here in the United States. You saw the
I don't even know what he represents, to be honest.
Because you're not listening. Because you're not listening.
Because he's not saying anything either.
Because we will not say anything now until the process that CPP put in place has been exhausted.
When would that happen?
Mr. So once CPP come out and say these are the people or this is the person we want as our standard bearer, we will let you know.
Who?
What do you mean who?
We
will let you know. CPP has a system, and that system is not going to be violated.
But you listened to Dr. Nyan yesterday. This thing not going to work. I don't know why you're wasting your time yet. Let
the naysayer, including you, let the naysayer, including you, continue to blow the trumpet of divisive ideas. But we, the CPP and Dr. Boyka, are a unity party, and we're going to unite the Liberian people.
You're married. You got into a marriage where there was no church to host you, where there was no minister, there was no rank to use. And you just jump into marriage and you think at the end of the day, there's no reception hall to go and everybody went away and you think this marriage is going to hold?
Mr. So, this is Liberia and CPP will survive and CPP will make the determination who's going to be the standard bearer. Once that happens, we will let you know. But in the meantime, now Ray Barrett, you showing people up to the CDC parade in the street right now? Let them continue.
They are disaster. Like even
okay. Since you know CDC, according to you, if CDC is the disaster, then why will you not come to the liberal view and accept Dr. Boyka as the stabilizer?
You are not even alternative. That's the whole thing. That's the disheartening thing about this whole thing. It's just a crazy thing. It's just we are in a chaotic situation.
Mr. So, we're offering the Liberian people a savior.
Okay.
Your country is lacking. Your country is unstable. Your country is lacking. And we say we're going to help you.
How many times you get boat to? Was that a boat he carried?
Mr. So why you want no? What are you doing? Why are you bringing the boat business up? The boat issue finished long time. Why are you bringing the boat business up? Just to dampen my spirit? Is that what you want? The boat is not going to dampen my spirit. They get a boat to the people got on the boat, they're riding the boat. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know Johnson said a traditional marriage. My man Johnson, traditional marriage said people can bring white chicken, but they ain't even cola said, they ain't even pour cola down the table. Oh man, you guys, I don't know.
Mr. So, what I want you to take out of this here tonight, I want to assure you that CPP is not in the business of making you happy. That's not our job. That's not our job. Our job is to put forth Dr. Boyka to stabilize the country. That's what we're talking about.
Boyka. Wow. All right, we're waiting. So we're waiting to see how it's gonna happen. My goal here is to make the better person win, but honestly, we are in a trouble.
Yeah, well, Mr. So very shortly, we will bring you cool water to certify you because Dr. Boyka is going to stabilize
It's so good. I have, there was something to experiment. I would say, let us give this thing here to this other noisemaker here. Let's see. Why
are you calling us noisemaker when we're telling you we're going to resolve your issue? Why are you considering us noisemaker?
You're not suggesting, you are not telling us anything of the resolution. You're not telling us any proposal. You are not telling us.
So are you saying you Liberia will be better off with CDC?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, if that's not what you're saying, then
we have them now. We have them now. And you are positioning yourself as an alternative. And it appears your legs not even straight as well. So
don't worry about my legs. I can sit down and lead. Dr. Boyka can sit down and lead the country. That's what we want. That's who we want. We want somebody to stabilize the country.
if Joseph Boyka cannot, who is the next person in the cluster for Unity Party?
We're not ready for that yet. When the time comes, we'll let you know.
You guys are gambling that country. You are.
That's okay.
Gambling.
We're not gambling the country. You see, this is what you guys make mistake. You guys consider CDC Liberia. For us, we say Unity Party is not Liberia. So if Unity Party is gambling, we're not gambling Liberians' lives. So let's get that straight.
All right, the Liberal Progressive, I want to thank you so much for your time this evening, and all our viewers and followers. I thank you for sharing.
So let me ask you this.
What?
How do I look like? What do you make of my attire here tonight?
It reminds me of Sanford and Son.
That cut the show off. Good night, Mr. So. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. You're going to throw him way back to 1974. Okay, Mr. So. Good night.
One great thing I discovered here tonight, I got to know that it's a good tail that you have, not even a cow tail.
What do you mean? See, this is what you do. You not see goat tail long that they are? You not see goat tail long that they are?
That better good.
But you not even better go say. You not see. Look at this. Look. You know how many inches?
You didn't hear
six.
You manager. Oh, sorry. Everybody, you're being exposed tonight that goat tail you have.
No. This is not a goat tail. This is the real cow tail from Toll Town.
Oh, please. That thing being laid away from Walmart for almost 3 months.
Well, that's what you think. But this is it. But folks, don't let him fool you. This is the real cow tail. You see how it's shaking? You see how it folded there? You see how it's shaking? You see how it's shaking? Right now, you see how it's shaking? Goat tail can shake like that. Goat tail can shake like this. You see it? You see how it fall, my people? Hey, see it? Hey, see how it fall? You see how it dancing? You see how it dancing? Goat tail can shake like that.
Is that malnourished that you tie rubber?
Mister, what do you mean malnourished? This is the real cow tail.
Man, you are case. The Liberal, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Well, thank you, Mr. So. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. Let's do it again.
All right, thank you so much. All right, tomorrow we're going to be having a little memorial for the old man. You know, we're not meeting in person, so we're going to have a sort of be a 1 hour something memorial just to have a little time to remember her.
Okay, what time would it be?
It will be 12 o'clock my time, 12 o'clock Eastern. 12 o'clock Eastern. So I don't know. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Let's see.
Okay, so that the brothers. Okay, most likely I'm going to be watching. I will be calling in from time to time. So I will be watching. And I will call in as well.
Saturday, what are you doing?
What kind of questions I want there? I'm working. I'm poor. I'm working. I'm poor man. I need money.
You say you pay 6,000. All right, Liberal. Have a pleasant evening, buddy.
Well, thank you, Mr. So. We'll talk later. Thank you very much. And good night, folks.
All right. Okay, well, folks, that does it this evening. To all our viewers, I follow up to want to thank you. Your comments, your tweet here this evening, very, very much rewarding, engaging. You can also follow our podcast if you go on www.liberiapublicradio.com. The live video is also there. We want to thank you this evening for having it. We are hoping that maybe, I said this before, it doesn't matter which party you belong to. Let us know if you want us to have this conversation, why you support this political institution, who you think is better positioned to address this crisis. I yet to find any of these political institutions, their surrogates or people who are the faces of the party, to speak on these burning issues that we are faced with. That is my concern. Multiple speakers. So we just don't know who to hold accountable. And there is a time now that we need to hear these people. They need to come up with a strategic plan as to how it will be done differently. I don't want to jump into a surprise again. Oh, wait, when the time comes. When the time comes, we can hold them because there was nothing presented. We never had the opportunity to ask them questions as well. So then we can hold them accountable. This is why these leaders, they need to appear. We need to hear from them most often. They need to tell us exactly how they're going to downsize government. What is their plan for education, agriculture, health, infrastructure, all of these things. I expect the opposition at this time, looking at the recast budget that is being proposed. However, the conversation is now is getting on the way gradually. I don't know whether they are having that sort of conversation. We haven't seen any position as to say, okay, this is workable, this is not workable. But all we see talking point on the social media, and that's not where the talking point is supposed to do. We pay them to go on Capitol Hill there and have this conversation. So I need to take a phone call Darrell Dillon. Darrell Dillon, on the other hand, needs to call all of these people and work. This is what happens in modern society. People make deals. This is not a priority at this time. We can work on this. We can make changes. Hey, this other budget that is allocated for this agency, this ministry of government, is not working. They are not doing that. And they're just all wanting everybody having their own assertions, their own analysis. That's not how it works. They need to build consensus. Consensus is what working. All of them have rehabilitation centers in their name. They all have NGO. Left the ordinary Liberian with these poor Liberian who are not higher up there. They have nothing to do. And we have the National Rehabilitation Commission that should address this issue. Rehabilitation center, you need clinicians, you need psychiatry. It's not just grabbing some old mattress here and go put it down for people to lay down and they get out, they go back in the street tomorrow, they discharge after swallowing 1 or 2 pills. That's not a solution. These people are on short-term solution. We also need to address the long-term solution and with a strategic plan that can be presented to the international community, because it's their program is not sustainable. What happens when you are out of a senatorial position or representative? How do you sustain that yourself? You think the poster is going to give you money? It needs to be well-funded. And in order for it to be well-funded, whether you like the government or not, we have to figure a way, we have to find a way that the international community, international organizations will know that we really have problems. But sometimes they look at these things and they make fun out of us, because it can just be I can remember the last time Jack Reed going on podcast and talking about Rehabilitation Commission, DDS, and all of those people. They are people that are responsible to address this mental health issue. So until these people can become responsible and know the functionary of themselves, they need to start having offices to address this issue. I'm Afonso Zienso. Have a pleasant evening.
Hello. Nobody do it like you do it, you a true God. Yes. You always hear me when I say my prayer with few words. But Jesus said, and they play in this new world. We devour every day, that while I'm still a good boy. Jehovah bigger than your problem, so just let it go. Just keep on praying, he will make your blessing overflow. To be the best and more the rest, you gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood, and while I'm giving praises. Yes. I gotta think that dividend, they think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it, brother, may not be in his say. Every time I sing, I'm on my knees, begging God for mercy. Thank you for your God, blessing and forgiveness. You solved my problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. Not only you can see my struggle when I'm very stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get the best. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
It's the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart, let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have no peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful, sweet life.